Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so good morning. Welcome. Glad you're here. And we're lucky to have Ben Fuller in the house today with us as well. Alan Yost was gracious enough to agree to meet with us today. He spoke to Carr about a month ago. And I was just dumbfounded by what's going to be happening. Not surprised, but I was surprised by just the amount of activity that is in place right now as it relates to green, and it's really going to change the dynamics. So I'm really glad that we've got that office right smack dab in the middle of all that. Alan, I don't know if you know this, but one, we're a gold member of the chamber. I think we're the only gold member of the chamber. And then we also are the premier host for our sponsor for Standardsville 4th of July. And so we were the premier sponsors for Oktoberfest, and then we'll be doing the 4th of July thing. So we're excited about that. And Vincent and I were just talking this morning about how do we keep ourselves involved, that grooving and green thing that's going on for the next bunch of weeks. So, and along with that, as you drive up 29 North and you feel hungry and you see the Big Mac billboard saying next left, right to the left of that is a very big Howard Hanna billboard now that says home happens here. If you're thinking about selling your house, go to the Howard Hanna website. Hopefully you're seeing all the TV. If you're on TV at all, Hobie is all over there talking about, working with buyers or working with sellers. There are two different ads that are running on all the different local TV sets. My wife, it's funny, I was getting dressed this morning. She goes, "Good morning, Hobie." And then a friend of mine, I didn't really think about this, but a friend of mine said that Hobie's voice and my voice are somewhat similar. So he heard a commercial the other day when he was in his house, and he thought his wife had let me in the house, and I was talking real estate. But anyway, so there's a lot of really cool things, going on in regards to getting our information out there. But part of that is having somebody like Alan join us, because one of the things you guys told me a few months ago when I was asking about what can we do to help you and make these meetings important and informative and that kind of thing, they said, give us information. The stuff you give is great, but we really want to hear what's going on in the marketplace so that when we're out there and somebody asks us, we've got the answers. And it's just perfect in regards to what we talk about all the time about being natural in what we do, being knowledgeable, so that literally we can talk to people over the hedge, talk to the neighbor, what's going on in green, and just be able to, chat with a few things that are happening. So without further ado, Alan, thank you for being here. I think you've got command of the screen, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Great. Thank you for having me this morning. To me, that's exciting because, Michael, Howard Hanna, we're excited to have you in our community. The fact that you're being so community engaged is fantastic. And Michael talked about it. If you're not aware of Green Commons, to me, that's an exciting thing going on right now. Green Commons is a pavilion and farmers market in Standardsville that is just taken off. We have a whole concert series first Saturdays of every month coming up this summer and spring. That's just going to be a great time, and kind of think of concert on the lawns, fun times for the family. Break out a blanket and enjoy the concert in the evening hours. We'll have food trucks there, beer trucks there, all sorts of great stuff. So, and then the farmers market Saturday morning. So it's great to know that Howard Hanna's really, you as a firm are really embracing the community. So thank you very much for doing that. That's great. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And so there are a few more people there. Let me.
Yeah, they snuck in while you were talking.
I tell you what.
All right.
I'm trying to keep an eye on people wanting to get in, and I think I'm doing an okay job. So if you get a text message saying I'm trying to get in, no one will let me in, please nudge me. The other thing is, I want this to be an informal conversation. I don't want to take up all your time, but if you have questions as we go, please feel free to ask questions. And so I should have started the slideshow. Excited about being here. And I asked Michael to pull some numbers last night, last minute. Thank you for doing that so quickly, Michael. We all know how tight the market is. 42 total active listings in green. And this is actually better than the last listing poll I received. But we know that I know our market pretty well, and the residents that come in here, that 300 to 500,000 is probably our sweet spot. But you just look at what's available when you have a client coming to you wanting their dream home. It's hard to find a dream home with this tight of a listing. And so for that there, I know the challenges you have in making sure in this with this tight market, but what's exciting is what's on what Michael talked about, what's in the future. Our greatest project that's coming forth, the Villages at Terrace Green. This is something that I was told 6 years ago, Alan, you dream too big. But we have made this happen. We're really excited. We're in the site plan review right now with the county. This has been approved, the PUD. If anybody has been to the Villages at West Broad and Short Pump, where Trader Joe's, there's a Trader Joe's, and then behind the Trader Joe's is kind of like a market street or a boulevard with restaurants and cafes on the first floor and loft apartments on the second floor. And then you go back another tier, it's into townhomes, but you never feel like you've left any of that. To me, that's not represented in the Charlottesville area. So I sought out developers, and I worked with Freed Companies, and Merritt Green is a subsidiary of Freed Companies. And they said, this is a great project for the Charlottesville region. This is not a Greene County project. This is a Charlottesville project, because there's not another Main Street Boulevard like that in Charlottesville. So I'm really excited. We're working closely with JLL, and hopefully we'll be seeing bulldozers out there shortly. And let me kind of show you a little bit. If you're familiar with Terrace Green Apartments, Sheets is in the upper left-hand corner here. Some people refer to it as our moonscape. Some people call it our Christmas tree farm. Right there as you cross the Albemarle Greene County line, about a half mile up. So this whole 70 acres will be the town center, and it's more of a village center than a town center. If you think of a town center like Hollymead Town Center, where you have the retail and then the residential, this is much more integrated. The landscaping, the streetscaping, you're not going to notice the difference between them. And a really big difference with this project, it's unique live to work shop community, I believe. These are for the Charlottesville area. This is the some of the sample architectural designs that we got. And so we're really excited about green space and that. Here's the overall layout. So if you've been to the Villages at West Broad in the Short Pump area, down below in the right-hand corner, you'll see ED, C, and B, the salmon color. That's kind of your Trader Joe's, your small to mid-size box stores. And then the next layer, the orange, that's the Main Street or the Market Street or main downtown boulevard type feel, with the apartments above your restaurants and your cafes, things of that nature. And then you've got the townhome community behind, and I believe it's I have my screen covered up on my other side with my notes, but a number of townhomes there that will be rented.
That better?
Yeah, I'm actually, I was trying to do my right screen where I've got other little side notes going.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
At one time. So let me go back to the full slideshow. And you guys are seeing my slideshow currently, correct? Flip through. You see the layout of the design?
Yeah.
Okay. So the townhomes back there.
This is the thing, Alan, that just took me totally off guard at the car thing. When I looked at this and I thought, oh my gosh, this is Greene County. I mean, just closing your eyes and thinking, oh my gosh. I mean, Mary, you grow up there. You ever think you're gonna see something like this? Yeah.
So what's unique and what I designed and sold Freed companies on this is often you try and anchor these with the Walmarts or the Lowe's or the big box stores. And what we're anchoring this with is more light manufacturing, office space. You see in the upper left-hand corner, you won't know the difference of walking further north across the roundabout, which will be very pedestrian friendly. I don't know if you can see the details of the pedestrian crosswalks and everything in there, but the whole opportunity to have I'm actually working with an interesting CBRE and that out of Northern Virginia, and people are downsizing headquarters and they're looking for a little bit smaller space. Hey, come down here instead of, needing 50,000 square feet for your headquarters, you only need 10,000 square feet. Look at coming outside of the Beltway a little bit further. If you're looking at Manassas, come a little bit further. So hopefully we can land some of those smaller headquarters that are downsizing, light manufacturing, kind of advanced manufacturing, that on the outside it looks like something will fit into the rest of the village center. So this is just
Alan, point real quickly to where the pedestrian crosswalk is. I see the roundabout.
The roundabout, each one has a.
Oh, there we go. Okay, just those little arches.
Yeah, exactly. And
okay.
Very pedestrian friendly. So we're excited about this project. This project really will transform the face of Ruckersville. We are in dialogue with an anchor tenant that could really bring an attraction to this downtown feel. Hopefully that'll happen. I'll tell you, the county is very open to how that whole left side of the screen works. To give an example, the county came in second. It was devastating that we came in second. And actually, a large pharma company was looking at bringing in almost a 1,000,000 square foot vaccine company. And it was going to be upwards to a $400 million investment. And they were going to take everything north of the traffic circle. Unfortunately, they found a building in another state last month. They told us not, we are second. Nobody remembers who was second in the Super Bowl last year, unfortunately. So we have, but we were told also.
But everybody remembers the name Avis.
Yeah. So we were told that if for some reason the building doesn't work out, this is where they're going to go. But we don't. We've been pretty much told to move on with the space, not to hold it for them anymore. But so the county is very open to what that whole left side might look like. I will also tell you there's conversation right now with a recreational facility, a county recreational facility there. The developer is very interested. Mark Freed originally had a vision for this property, and since I've convinced the Freed companies to come in here, they're actually, I'm trying to talk them into making the Mark Freed Memorial Recreational Facility with indoor swimming and things of that nature. And that I hope some of those things come about, because all of that will add to this whole town center feel. So, and then village feel as opposed to a town center feel. So, and let me move on.
Before you move away from this project, it
Yes.
says X water tower. So that water tower is going to come down?
No, the water tower, and I don't know why it says X. I'll be honest, I never knew that now until you pointed that out. It's going to be there. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to find
Because
out.
I'm thinking maybe on that water tower, it should just say Howard Hand on it.
That, I will tell you that the pharma company, that was the incentive package. it was going to have their name on it. So
Yeah.
it is.
And we could
it
just
is-
paint it green and get that yellow lettering. I think it looked really good.
There, I tell you what, your signs stand out when you drive through the countryside. That bright green, bright yellow, that's for sure. So,
It definitely stands out at night. We were talking about it as we started, maybe you were on, but it stands out at night when somebody's hungry and sees the Big Mac and then sees our billboard right next to it.
there you go. Any other questions about this project? Hopefully groundbreaking, like I said, the site plan review is currently happening right now. I will tell you the plan.
So groundbreaking when? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The hope is sometime this summer, late fall, or into fall. So phase one is this lower section that would include the clubhouse. I believe it's 50 of the townhomes and some of the Commerce Street here will be built in phase one. And then all of the rest will come along as quickly as market dictates. So.
Barb, what's your question?
Is the location where right now it's a bunch of pine tree, like a big Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how he started. Said the Christmas tree farm.
Any other nicknames for that property? Moonscape is the other one I keep hearing. So
Just Howard Hanna Homes, I think it's a great nickname for it.
that Howard Hanna Farm.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Anyway,
that's
I
our project.
digress.
It's really exciting that, and if you've gone to Terrace Green Apartments, if you've been on that property or you're up this way, I encourage you to go into Terrace Green Apartments because Freed developed those. The goal is to create the exact same streetscape, landscape feel that is in Terrace Green Apartments. It's very clean landscape, lots of vegetation, big trees, things of that nature. Has a really, really nice feel to it. And that's what's going to be, this entire property will have that same feel. So if you're up this way, you can get a preview sense by driving through Terrace Green Apartments. So
Awesome.
yep. But that's not it. I mean, and I just bring up this map as a talking point. If you're familiar with Four Seasons is about ready to go in phase two. It's the senior residential on going west on Route 33. It's about a 0.2 mile on the left-hand side. Four Seasons is this phase is 129 new homes in the gated community, senior living type or zone for seniors. There's another property going west that we're really working hard on, and I hope that we can get moving. That it is currently zoned senior, but we're trying to get it changed to multifamily R1. It would mean 1,000 homes that would be going between Route 33 and Carpenter's Mill, if you know that area. The developer was having challenging time getting it rezoned. He's changing the property to include a elementary school on the property. It's going to be another exciting project that will have a nice sense of community to it. So to add an elementary school within the community will really give you that really close-knit feel, community that you almost have with maybe Forest Lakes type community. So that'll be
So
exciting.
Alan, that
Yep.
Four Seasons is helpful because the rumor I'd heard was that they were trying to get out of the senior living. But what you're saying is those 129 homes will still be a 55 and over community.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, and they're in there with putting the infrastructure, the water and sewer in as we speak. So they're going to be having buildings built here very soon. So.
And is
yeah.
K-Hub doing that again, or is it somebody else?
Who was the very first one? Started with an H.
K-Hubnanian, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. They're involved again. So.
Okay, that's what I figured. I figured that they were coming back in to finish.
If also just north in front of Lowe's on Moore Road, but they're building an access road over to the Lowe's traffic light. 212 homes will be coming in, 212 apartments, I apologize. Apartments are about ready to get their certificate of occupancy, so those will be online here in the next couple months. There are
Is that the old Meadows Farm property?
behind it on more,
Okay.
Moore Road. So it's on the opposite side. It's not in between Moore Road and 29. It's on the other side of Moore Road.
Oh, okay.
So it'll actually be set off with by 100 yards on the opposite side of Moore Road. There are multiple other townhome communities. There's one that is approved just as you cross the county line here. That, if I remember correctly, that's about 165 townhomes that will be kind of, I believe it's the same developer that's doing the townhomes, or right there on Prophet Road when you turn.
Yeah, that's
going-
Ryan Holmes, right?
It's the same developer that's working with Ryan Homes. I don't know if Ryan Homes has committed to these
Oh, okay.
townhomes yet, so.
Okay.
And then same property owner developer. So there's multiple others. The next big one is Creekside. Creekside is down Pretty Creek Road. So it's down in the bottom corner here. This will be 1,100 detached homes, some townhomes included in that. It's, to me, the exciting thing is they're proffering 30 acres or so that will be along Pretty Creek. The potential, the agreement hasn't worked out with Albemarle County, but the hope is someday that we can get our two parks and recs to work together, that creek, that property that's proffered with that 1,100 homes, and that's under, right now, that's in the site plan stage as well. So that is rolling very quickly. If that park can be attached to Pretty Creek and Albemarle, that's an incredible resource for our community to have our own 30 acres, but then open up to the much larger Pretty Creek area as well. So that'll be really concentrated right there, right around our villages at Terrace Green. So a lot of proposed things hitting the fan pretty quickly here, right in that area. Those are
Alan, is there any thought about with this, what you just pulled up, the Village Terrace, any access over there to be able to have people be able to walk right over to that 30-acre parcel?
So the question and the hope, it was actually brought up in a meeting this week that this Pretty Creek, if you're not aware, Pretty Creek Road, Smart Scale project rediverts Pretty Creek right through this project. And
Right.
So the hope is that the majority of traffic does not come out at Sheets, but the Pretty Creek. There's conversation, and we were actually looking at trying to hire a consultant to say, how can we get a working trail down to the whole Pretty Creek area from here? So that would be a wonderful asset to the community to have access to that. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but we're going to try. So those are the big projects. The other thing just to be aware of, if you're not Firefly with fiber broadband, this is significant. Firefly has committed in the Central Virginia region to hook up everybody in Greene County and multiple other counties to have every single household have broadband. My concern with this actually is it's going to open up our rural areas in ways that we've never seen before. We've always had a goal to keep our growth in Ruckersville, but if fiber is available at every single electrical outlet in Greene County, that will open up our more rural western part of the county. And so as real estate brokers, knowing that is coming in the next 3 to 4 years, unfortunately, that'll create more sprawl. That makes you guys happy, I'm sure. But we're
But Alan, just to follow up on that, in doing our due diligence and talking with James up there and everything, I didn't realize that Greene County has more Airbnb properties than any other county in the area. And the
We
reason
do.
being, obviously, because of people being closer from coming down from DC. Greene County is closer than Nelson County and whatever. So already the Airbnb traffic. So when you have something like this and you can have broadband into those rural areas, I think what Alan is saying is you're absolutely right. People will start trying to grab those up to
Yep.
turn them into Airbnbs. Right, Alan?
Airbnb, but also just people, the new stay at home, telecommuting is just, my son-in-law worked for Booz Allen out of McLean down here for a year and a half during COVID. And they finally decided to move back up north, but to my chagrin. But anyhow, that's a perfect example of with a new work telecommuting and this fiber opportunity. I see it opening up permanent residents even more than because most of our short-term rental people are coming to get away. Yes, it's nice and important to have broadband, but sometimes they'll put up with slower broadband for that type of situation. So
Right.
There is a 29 quarter transportation study that is actually being done right now. And VDOT has a goal to limit as many traffic lights on 29 as possible. To me, that's a little frustrating, but it is happening, and there is a push to eliminate as many traffic lights as possible with what's called R cuts and J turns. And you typically only do right in and right outs, and then you go down and do a U-turn after 100 yards or so to go the opposite direction if you need to do that. And that transportation study is being done from Crawford Road all the way up to Route 33. And I think you'll see some significant changes with development as it comes online, with a lot of the crossovers in 29 and one or two traffic lights disappearing. They're looking at the Burley Station Road in Albemarle County, removing that traffic light with a similar type structure. Those things are coming for this whole 29 North corridor, trying to get the regional traffic through as quickly as possible. Along those lines, also 2933, they're out there surveying as we speak and about ready to redo that intersection completely. If you've been up here lately, the red antique building's gone. A real hallmark or landmark in Greene County is gone at this point, and that'll be happening soon. The service authority has been a real challenging situation. If you're not aware, we've been in a service agreement with Madison and Orange and Greene, and the Greene County has decided we are doing 100-acre water impoundment reservoir that is going to be $65 million. Our past policy has that we build something like this and we just give it over to RSA and they maintain it, but they haven't been maintaining. And so Greene has realized that it's time that we invest in our own sewer authority. There's been a lot of litigation because they have not wanted us to go. We're in the final stages. Everybody's in agreement that Greene is going to separate off from RSA, from Orange and Madison. We're just going through, unfortunately, more litigation to decide how the assets are divided. Once that's done, Greene will have their own service authority. And the only reason why the water impoundment reservoir has not broken ground is because waiting for this to be resolved. And so that'll be significant. And that goes under the water project there next. So those are the big things happening. And I probably spoke longer than you were expecting me to, Michael, but I'll just open up to any questions you have at this time to anyone, and happy to answer what I can and not make up what I can't. So
No, that's great information. Anybody on Zoom or in-person questions that you have? I mean, you count that up, it's like 3,000, new homes that are in the works, and not only in the works, but pretty far down the pipeline. And then again, just that. But real quickly, Alan, I know there's a little, it's still out there, but there's a whole new thing for the Standardsville streetscape too, right?
Yep. So, and that is a project I did not talk about. I am, the Streetscapes project, we have brought over a couple $1 million in grants to Sandersville. And we have laid the groundwork with a lot of infrastructure improvements, a lot of crosswalks, a lot of the curbing and gutter. 7 years ago, when all this started, a lot of the sidewalks were tripping hazards, things of that nature. All of that's been cleaned up. Our next step is we're actually looking at a DHCD grant for a business launch grant, where you basically, we're trying to work with 4 or 5 tenant landlords to say how we could offer free rent for a year for 3 to 4 businesses that go through a process, go through a bidding process and a vetting process, embed 3 or 4 different companies to come in all at one time. The key to Sandersville is either the residents or the tourists will pay the bills, but you have to rely on the other ones to make money. So neither tourists nor the residents of Green at this, or Sandersville itself, can sustain a business. And so it really is important that we attract businesses that are attractive to both. The other thing that I'm working very diligently on in courting major developers is we're looking at how do we add 300, 400 rooftops to Sandersville itself. The viability of the town really needs that walking. And if we attract these businesses and we can attract this developer and we get all of this launched and everything coming together, synergy at one time, I can see Sandersville very much a mini Crozet. We don't want to be Crozet. We don't want to grow that much. But how do we make it that wonderful, walkable, small town charm that's so hard to find? And so really we working hard to make that happen. And so I've been talking independently with developers, and there's a real interest with that, especially with the current inventory of the housing market. So hopefully that announcement will happen in 6 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I asked the question, is because, I mean, William Monroe has such a, community feel anyway. That whole Greene County, William Monroe, small town, I just could see that being really special. And with the Groovin and Green and the different things they're doing now, there's a lot of neat things that are going on to kind of be sort of spearhead it, right? Sort of lead the way into it. So that's really great.
Absolutely.
Well, before we bid you adieu, would you make me the host again, please?
Absolutely. My
We don't
pleasure.
we don't all want to disappear.
If anybody wants to meet with me at all, you're welcome to join me. I am in the visitor center in front of Lowe's. This is kind of something I'm proud of, that the Taylor House was just slated to be leveled about 2 years ago for Burger King to come here. And there's a little 10-foot stretch of grass between us and Enterprise Drive that the non-compete with McDonald's made it so Burger King couldn't come here because of that 10-foot of grass. When I found that out, we made an offer. The visitor center is here. It's a beautiful old stone house, brick house. It used to be the landscape. Please stop by, make an appointment. I'm always busy, so sometimes it's better to make an appointment, but if you're passing and want to try and grab me, feel free to stop by anytime.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that we've got kind of as a kind of cool thing, is that we're in the old visitor center. So,
Yes,
our office, when you vacated, we actually moved in. Yeah.
You're free to walk in there and see. Yeah, absolutely. So the other thing along those lines, we do have new resident packets. I would encourage you, if you ever sell a house, encourage you to send them to us. We have basically the utility companies, we have clubs and churches and things of that. We have a packet for new residents here. So if you ever sell a house in Greene County, encourage them to come see us. So
Well, absolutely, we'll do that. Maybe Vicky's on. Vicky's our staff person up in Green. Maybe she can stop by and grab a couple of those so that they have them in the office there.
we try not to give too many out because we like for them.
That's why I
to
said a
come
couple.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am
Sounds
trying to
great.
figure out how to make you the.
So go up to participant, find the participants and go up to me and click more.
Okay.
And then it should say make a host, make me a host.
There you go. And you should now be back in charge, Michael. It's a pleasure, pleasure being with
Alan,
everyone.
thank you so much, man. We really appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
All right, take care.
Bye now.
Pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to do this, because when I heard it at Carr, I said, this is just more than any of us. I mean, I knew that Freed had that property and they built those apartments and that kind of thing, and they had more things, but I had no idea, one, that it was that they planned it, but two, how close it is to being for real.
So I noticed that on that big community of the Greens Commons, that they're hoping to break ground this summer, like the whole package, is that like a rollout of like over the next 10 years?
I think it's a 5 to 10 year type of thing now. Obviously, if that pharmaceutical company would have taken that, it probably would have happened a lot faster, because they would have built that whole upper, what would that be, the northeast corridor would have been happening now, because those people want to be in there.
So visible too.
Yeah.
It's gonna completely change that whole.
Oh, yeah.
stretch.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And you can see why they're doing the 29 quarter study, because that's a lot of rooftops. And then on Pretty Creek, if you're talking about 1,100 more homes down there, and they want to feed them through there down to 29. That with that roundabout, all I thought about that is that's 1,100 people coming in and out. That sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. So let me hit a couple other things, and then I'm going to Ben, I'm going to go ahead and make you the host now, so that you can take over as soon as I make a couple.
I feel so powerful.
There you go. There you go. And we are much better shape, you being in control of it than me. But just a couple of quick things, because I want him to share some stuff, and then we'll finish up. But we finished the year at 96% as far as customer satisfaction rate. We had a bunch came in, and all of them were excellent and very good. So once you have X amount of surveys, it's really hard to move that percentage up. But so to move it up a whole point is pretty special. But I just want to continue to remind you, and I know Vicky's on here. We really want to get you guys reaching back out to your clients and asking them to do Google reviews and testimonial tree reviews. It makes a huge difference. As you've heard before, Vincent saw what was happening, got a bunch of people to do it. And we went from, a couple bad reviews making us look bad to now we're at like 4.6 in the Charlottesville. As far as Charlottesville, what's that?
It only took 2 weeks, so collectively.
Right. And what it also does is it pushes the bad reviews, whether they were rightful or not. Vincent responds to those people and says, hey, if you had a problem, please let us know. But it pushes the bad reviews down. So somebody going in to look at reviews, they have to scroll down farther and farther, the more positive ones there are. So Vicky, what we'd love to do is get Jan and Fiona to give you some of their information, and just individual email those folks and ask them to review the green agents. And so because we found out, we hadn't really thought about it, but there's a green Google review, there's a Zion Crossroads Google review. So we need to, really spend time bringing those up as much as we can.
And
Plus,
the other thing, sorry,
Go ahead.
when the review comes in, I manually put them into your personal Howard Hanna testimonial tree. So when you see that come into your testimonial tree, it's also on Google as well. So it's been great for you.
yeah, so that's just another thing that we're doing for you guys. Vincent's doing, Vince is doing for y'all. When those reviews come in, Vincent sees them and he automatically puts them into your Howard Hanna exposure as well. Again, just keep thinking about the fact that, our word for the year is unity, and I hope that you're thinking about that personally as well. It's been fascinating to me since I made this decision to make this word for me this year, how it's impacted me in regards to other things that I'm doing, this whole uncompromised, never ending intensity toward yes. If we all get together, just as an example of this, if we all have this uncompromised, never-ending intensity toward yes, as far as getting Google reviews out or, getting those kind of things, it helps us all, because it creates that, Howard Hanna, Roy Wheeler exposure into your sphere, but also to other people's sphere. When you see other people's, posts, and you guys did a great job of that this week, Howard Hanna announced a $25,000 donation to the Ukrainian relief effort, which I thought was amazing. And I posted on the Agent Only Facebook page that people had asked me, and I posted some links where I know that the money goes directly to those efforts. And several people have responded and so they've done that. But the point being is, I also saw that when I posted that, several of you shared it. Well, it's on the Roy Wheeler Howard Hanna site, and there's 2,400 plus people that follow our Facebook page, which is, I think, as much as anybody in the marketplace right now. But so it goes to those 24, but when you share it, depending on how many friends you have, then that many friends see it. And that just expands it out. And then if somebody sees it and likes it and shares it, that just does it again. So that's that, you know, that a real good picture of this whole unity scenario. We're in this together. It helps us all individually as we brand our things together. And speaking of, success and that kind of thing, we did over $21 million in production in February, which I felt really good about. And Susan Stewart had a phenomenal month. She had 12 sales, which is just pretty extraordinary. Caitlin, Fiona, and Krista all had 4. Krista just recently joined our company, had 4 contracts in February, so good for her. Jane, Caroline, and Wendy had 3. Dana, Sue-Ann, Steve, Maury, and Kimberly Johnson had 2 each. And, just a really good month. And it's, it's crazy out there. It would have been even better if you guys hadn't write 8 contracts and not win, right? And Barb's been in that situation. I want you to know you're not alone. And I had a conversation with a very experienced agent yesterday in our company. Same thing. Robert Ramsey, some of you remember Robert. Robert retired, but he's trying to help his daughter find a property. She's lost 9 times. And she's looking for a property up to $1 million. So it's not like a first-time home buyer. She made an offer on a $785,000 house, had an escalation clause up to $885 and lost by $100,000. They were 19th out of 19 with an offer that was an escalation clause $100,000 above the list price. So we're all in this together, and that's why if you didn't, I hope you'll go back and watch the training last week that I did. Again, go into the Agent Hub, find it on, working with buyers and sellers in this challenging market. And Ben's going to, help us with that as well. But I just talked about different strategies that you can use. Not that you're not using them, but maybe there's something in there that you haven't used and it can make a difference. I mean, you see it every day on Facebook. Oh my gosh, my buyer won the contract, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, keep those things in mind. Just real quick, Car General membership meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Car has Latte and Learn on Friday, which I think is really interesting. They're talking to school superintendents. So I think that'll be an interesting conversation. And then next week, we've got 2 really good training classes. Larry McElwain's going to do one of those legal update classes, but he's also going to thing on the nuances of a deed and just talk you through what it looks like from a standpoint of the deed and how it transfers ownership and that kind of thing. And he sent me an outline the other day. And that's going to be really good. Larry does a great job. And then Thursday, Christopher Bramante, some of you know him, Bramante Homes, he's changed his whole business model. They no longer build spec homes. He's decided to be totally a custom builder. But along with that, he's created an entity where you have somebody who is thinking that they want to buy or build a custom home, and they don't even know where to start. From a standpoint of the lot, how do I buy a lot, and what's that mean, and how much the cost of the lot? What does that mean I can build? That kind of thing. He now has created a department in his business that, as a consulting, that you can go to him and walk alongside him, and they'll for a fee. They will walk alongside the folks with your help in regards to finding a lot, knowing what kind of lot to look for, those kinds of things, and helping them decide. It doesn't have to be, obviously, they'd love to build a house, but it doesn't have to be them, helping them decide who's the right builder for them in that particular area or whatever. So he's going to give us an overview of that next Thursday at 10, which I'm really excited about. And then speaking of the deed and that kind of thing, the Women Council Realtors on Friday, the 25th, they're doing ins and outs of surveys and title work. And again, that's at 9 o'clock. Barb, you might want to check with Car because it's not on the Car calendar yet. Because I looked at it this morning when I was putting this information in. So just an FYI on that. So those are just some different things that are going on. Ben, we're grateful you're here. We're grateful that you're here every month, doing the things that you're doing, and the screen is yours.
All right, unmute myself here.
Let me mute myself here.
All right, can everybody hear me? I guess you can.
Right, so, folks, can you hear him? We're gonna hear him in the room. But can everybody hear him that's on Zoom? Give us a thumbs up or something. Somebody unmute, Ben, talk.
Hello. All right, are we ready?
Can
All
everybody,
right, so
Logan, Russ, Vincent, can you hear him?
looking at the list of the folks that are online here,
Yes. Okay, we got it. Go ahead.
anybody been in the business less than 24 months? That's a shame. That means that all the rest of us know what's coming, right? We know this market is going to change. Right now, we're looking at market times of minutes to maybe a day or two. Such a limited inventory. Hearing the gentleman from Greene County tell you that you're going to have what, 3,000 new homes? That'll boost the inventory a lot. When's the last time anybody wrote an offer and actually got closing cost assistance for your buyer? This doesn't happen, does it? Doesn't. So, home inspections. God, there are times I feel like a used car salesman. You want the house? Home inspection could blow it for you. But that's going to change. Interest rates, where's Jay? Jay, interest rates going up? Quickly. Yeah, see? And what does that do to a buyer's buying power?
Goes down.
Goes down. Goes down. So, where right now they could be qualified for 400,000 in a matter of days, weeks, months, that could be down to 350, 300. So that's going to help bring the inventory up because sellers are going to want to get in and get their home sold as quickly as possible before this happens. And the buyer pool is actually going to increase. So we have to be ready for it. So, and I have a list of little tools here, of course, since it's Howard Hanna time. One of the first tools that I recommend that you get comfortable with is open to close. We will be doing open houses more frequently. Michael, have you been informed of Twilight open houses?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in my Maxim Westing open house class.
Good. Twilight open houses, they're Wednesdays from 5 to 7. The cool thing is we give you signs that you put out ahead of time in the neighborhood. You put a sign in front of the house that says, this home will be open on Wednesday from 5 to 7. And what this does is generates local traffic to your open house. It works. I have sold a number of homes because of the Twilight open houses. We've had the time shift. It's staying lighter later, and these are typically available. Well, mind you, this comes from up north and they have snow as an issue. Typically it's May through September, but when we got it down to Virginia Beach, we said, this is great. We started them in March because it's still lighter later and the weather's good. And again,
Beth Ann Boone and David Bill and Zoc Crossroads get open house, I think the first weekend in April, and they're doing one of those on Friday evening.
good.
Prior to the Sunday open house.
Excellent, excellent. Now, open to close becomes a benefit. And if you look at your screen, you see this is my open to close. Things I've done for other agents and so forth. But you literally start the event, you can, let's see, let me move these folks out of the way here. You get to adjust the questions for your open house. And I encourage you, the first question you can't change. It's hard coded in there. How do they hear about it? we always want to ask if the participant is working with an agent, and I encourage you to create a question about your house, about your listing. Nobody else does this. In addition, when you're running the open house, we don't want them to sign in the moment they walk through the door. Let them enjoy the house. Welcome them, encourage them to look around. And then catch them as they're walking out and ask them to please sign in on your laptop or your iPad, utilizing open to close, and make sure there's a question about the house. If there's something dramatic about the house, a workshop, in this particular case, this listing happens to be waterfront. And I asked them, did you enjoy the view from the deck? Well, in this particular case, there were a couple of folks that didn't make it outside the backyard. So they hand me my iPad back and they said, no, we'll be right back. And they went out to the dock, enjoyed the view, came back and then signed in. That made that open house very memorable for them. Now, anybody that signs in to open to close that is not represented by an agent automatically gets loaded into your Real Scout. How many are using Real Scout? Be honest, show of hands. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. From open to close, it automatically goes into Real Scout. Real Scout will take the parameters of the listing that you're sitting, even if it's not your listing, and will create a search for these individuals, a generic search, and it can send it to them automatically, coming up with other properties that may be available in the area. Now, we know as agents that most folks that show up in our open house are actually shopping in an area that's 1.5 times what they can actually afford. So while you're at the open house, knowing that they're going to forward themselves right into Real Scout, you can jump into Real Scout and readjust their price range a little bit. Any questions so far? Okay, moving right along.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Let's say I'm a prospective buyer in Real Scout, you set me up, and I change my search pattern for a higher price point. Will I receive listings at that price point?
Yes.
Okay. So it learns my behavior. So I don't know if you guys know that. That's the cool thing about
Right.
it.
And I get notified that you've decided to shop in a price range that you can't really afford.
But do you have to readjust their setup like the MLS, or will it automatically adjust itself based on what I'm searching?
The search that you create
Yes.
will adjust itself.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Thank
See
you.
if I can move this out of the way, get out of that form. All right, any other questions about open to close? So, open to close feeds Real Scout. Real Scout feeds Engage. The purpose for all of these tools working together is to make sure that you're not stuck sitting at your laptop doing stuff. They're designed to keep us as agents out in the market selling. Real Scout allows your buyers to view current data. Now, you need to understand that we as a company are linked to our MLS. You start a listing on car, it will immediately show up in Real Scout because of our relationship with the MLS, where it getting to some of the outside effects like Realtor.com, Zillow, Truly, and so forth. That may take hours or a day, depending upon the MLS, but our feed is direct. So you create a search in Real Scout, your clients are getting up-to-date data. And we're talking about buyers and we're talking about sellers. If you have a listing, I suggest that you create a comp search in Real Scout for your sellers. Fred down the street has been talking about listing his house. His house goes on the market. The neighbor that you have listed is going to know about it. And we need to demonstrate that we're on top of things. So if there's all of a sudden more competition, You get a copy of the feed that's going to your seller, and you can respond just as quickly, calling up your client and saying, we have competition. Do you want to make any changes? Real Scout also keeps you informed of what your clients are doing real time. If you look on your screen, this search that I created a couple months ago when I was here had a hit 6 hours ago. Bob, I talked to him last evening, was online 16 hours ago checking out listings. Bob opened an email twice and I get notified. So they can message you. If they want to see a property, and in this market, we need to react as quickly as possible, you'll receive a text message that the client has communicated with you. You can log in and read the message. You'll also get an email and you can react. When a client sees a property, this is what they're looking at. It's focused on you, comes back, nice big vivid pictures right at the top of the listing, price, amenities, map. It also has school scores, extra features, and so forth. So when we're facing a changing market, you need to get comfortable with Real Scout. Questions? Let's see. I'm going to change his direction from his plan.
I had a good lesson reminder to myself. A couple weeks ago, my client, who Jan Shiflett and I are working with him, she texted me and she said, oh, can we check this out? I just got it sent to me. And I asked who sent it, and she said, you. I said, I did. Oh, I better check my Howard Hanna email. And,
Yes, exactly. Also, there's buy side. Buy side is a version of reverse prospecting. Buy side actually has a number of features within it. But for instance, if I scroll down here, my listing on Potter's Road in Virginia Beach has 22 matches. When I click on the 22, over here on the right-hand side, we see a list of the matches, and this is like a code number. We don't have contact with the actual client, but we do with the agent. Over here on the left, it shows that this first one has 100% match to the criteria for my listing. If I click on the code number, it tells me that it's Stacy Taylor, who's an agent in our Lynn Haven office. So I can reach out to all of these agents merely by clicking that one box, hitting send, and it will send this email to every one of those buyers' agents and say, hey, I've got a listing. You've got a buyer. Let's talk. I can use the same thing. I can change that message and I can send an email to them and saying, hey, we're going to have an open house on Saturday. Just send your client. You don't even have to attend. You'll be protected. Questions? Very powerful tool here. In addition, within buy side, we have this BMA button at the top. You can put in any address you want. This is actually the property that I grew up in Cazenovia, New York. Now we have a Hanna office in Cazenovia. Five bedrooms, 3 baths, single family, that is correct. I hit next and I'm giving these 4 values. 4 show up here. Sometimes you'll get 3, sometimes you'll get 5. It depends on how many aggregators are out there working in that locality. Now I can scroll down here and I can put in my price range. Hit next, and it's telling me that we have 5 buyers for that property in Cazenovia, New York. Those are 5 buyers that have searches set up in Real Scout. So I encourage you. Real Scout has the same data that CAR has, almost instantly at the same time. It's better formatted for the consumer. So take all of your searches that you have set up for your buyers in CAR, recreate those searches in Real Scout. Look at the number of matches you have in CAR, create the search in Real Scout, and the match number will be the same. Send it to your clients. We always like feedback from our clients. So send it to them, say, hey, we have a new search tool. Let me know what you think. When we first got Real Scout down in Virginia Beach, I had 10 buyers. Did the same thing that I'm telling you. The first 5 loved it. Said, shut down that other thing. I had a couple old ex-Marines, curmudgeon, and they said, oh, it's just another search. Yeah, too bad. I switched you anyways. And 3 said, what does it matter? I'm still getting the same data. The point is, the bulk of the people love it. And once you get in the habit of utilizing it, again, you put somebody into Real Scout, they're automatically in Engage.
Then the other way that you use this that is really helpful is you've got somebody who's thinking about listing their house and you're in competition. Put that address in and be able, when you sit down at the presentation, say, I just want you to know that, and you pull this up and say, there are already 6 people that match your criteria.
Exactly.
And, that's just something that another company may not have the ability to do. And that could be the difference between you getting a listing or not getting a listing, is for them to see that kind of technology. Or again, and I'd love you to describe, if I'm in a neighborhood and I had a conversation walking the dog or whatever, and they asked me about the market and whatever, show them real quickly just how you can send an email to them saying, hey, I know you're not in the market right now, but go to this link and you can find out the value of your home.
Okay, up on the screen, this is the little 6-page report that you create using the BuySides BMA. If somebody is considering selling their house, you know they're going online, checking the values.
Using Zillow or whatever.
Yep, and this says, yes, there are those values out there, but I may be able to get you actually more money because I'm a professional realtor. This is just a little 6-page report. You can easily drop it in the mail, drop it off at somebody's house. You see that FSBO that you drive by every day. And as Michael said, this last page, saying, I've already got 5 buyers while you're waiting. Okay, so and again, through our marketing suite, you can actually put a link. If you've ever received an email from me, there's a link at the bottom of my email. Check the value of your home. If you want to publish this, you can go over here to the right. You can share it on social media. Now, I use Facebook, and I actually use Facebook Messenger a lot. We have a family group, and my old buddies from high school, even though that pool is shrinking, our 50th anniversary is actually this summer. Yes, I'm that old. But Messenger works. When you click on Messenger, for instance, old girlfriend from high school. She's in I have a group of 10 test people that I test every, and she's one of them. I can click this button, send it. and immediately she'll receive the message. She can key in her address. And then I will get notified. This is a list of folks that have utilized Buy-Side BMA in the past month. Those of you that remember, I brought some ice scrapers up here back in December. I created a mailing for my farm. Got glue dots off of Amazon, sent out 150 ice scrapers to the folks in my neighborhood with a QR code coming right back to Buy-Side. And I've got 12 hits. So now I will then go back and do the little BMA 6-page report, drop it in the mail or drop it off at their house since I live right there. All it cost me was 75 cents per scraper. And I could have 6 potential listings right here. Questions? Okay. All right, moving right along. Let's go back over here. That. Boost. Boost is new. Boost is very effective. When you click on Boost, pertains to your listings and how we market our listings. It's out on the internet, it's out on the MLS. We can post things on Facebook and so forth. My listing on Potter's Road. It's actually the only listing that's technically still available. I've had 2,300 ad views. The first week of Boost is free. You can go back in and you can extend it. And by extending it, it can end up on, your ad could be on ESPN, HGTV, the Weather Channel, New York Times. There's a wide variety. It will cost you money, but your first week was free. And as we enter into a market where your market times are going to be in weeks or months, it may be some money well spent. Questions? Yes.
First week free, is that happens automatically?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
You don't have to do a thing.
Yeah, as soon as it hits the MLS, it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool about this. I mean, he said it, but you get a chance to, one, look at it and tell your client, hey, your property was shown 2,338 times. You know, it was viewed 2,338 times. If you feel like that's a good number, I think it's a pretty good number. Now, I think it was 3 engagements, or 3 engagements, I think. That's still a good number, right? You got 3 people who are actually engaged in it that you might be able to work with. Then you have the opportunity to extend it if you want, but if you don't, you don't. It's your choice. If it showed that only 14 people viewed it or whatever, and you say, well, that didn't really work, then, you know, the company has paid for it, done the boost, but, you know, if you want to move it forward, you can. But, and that's just what I love about this, is because it's similar to the way we have always done things, right? That, you know, hey, we're going to do this. If you're interested, you know, blah, blah. If you're not interested, it's fine. You don't have to do it. There's no, you know, everybody has to pay for something just because we want to have that. And that's another really strong thing about Howard Hanna. There were so many things that Vincent and I were trying to accomplish that we just couldn't do. We just didn't have the financial wherewithal. I mean, we were going to have to piecemeal it and all that kind of stuff. It was Howard Hanna, just all right there. And yet still the local feel to it. So go ahead, Ben.
All right. Thank you, Michael. You're absolutely right. So Real Scout, Boost, Buy-Side, Open to Close. All these tools right here work great.
And let's do one more and then we'll close it up and people want to talk to you after that.
Okay, one more tool. One more. Well, that would be the buyer's tour.
Great.
As we're shopping with homes, right now, it's always a rush. 123 Happy Street hit the market, Francine. We got to go. It's going to be off the market by 5 o'clock this afternoon. When this market changes and we actually can shop with our buyer and choose a property logically, the buyer's tour comes in very handy. A buyer's tour allows us, see if I can find the right one. Instead of printing out flyers and killing trees, we load your listings right into the buyer's tour. And as your client receives this email, they open up this link, and this is an active website. They can see the properties that we're going to. Now, back in the old days, we would meet at the office, we all pile in my car, we drive around. Those days are done. I haven't had a client in my car probably in 3 years, but that might just be me. But the client can open this up, they can click on the listing, and they can rate it. They can give it a number of stars. They can make a note. Excuse me, where did you go? Well, that was interesting. Anyways, let me keep talking while I reload it. The buyer's tour, your client is able to rate and make notes about the listings. Remember the old days where you would go shopping all day Saturday, you would hit 5 or 6 listings, and then you'd go back out on Sunday? You did that, right?
Yeah.
We all did that, right? And halfway through Sunday, they'd say, oh, can we go back to the first one we saw yesterday? Remember that? Don't have to worry about that anymore. All the photos from the listing are in here, all of them. The map, all of the features of the property. And they can rate them and they can make their notes. And in doing so, it reminds them of what that property was like. In addition, we know how our clients come in different varieties. We have a side-by-side view here where they can compare beds, baths, price, amenities, square footage, whatever it might be.
That's kind of buyer two you want to have right now, right? 5.4, 4.8.
In addition, there's information about you. There's information about the whole process of purchasing a home. You can add your own personalized pages to this as well. Questions?
Yeah, the really nice thing about this tour is kind of like back in the day, I was telling Ben the other day that I used to have, when I was an agent 100 years ago, I'd have the list all on paper, and we'd go through the house, and when we got back in the car, I'd say, okay, yay or nay? You want it, is this still on the list or not? And they said nay, I literally would crumple up the paper and throw it in the back seat. Right? Just that there was that action, okay, that one's done. So when we got back to the office that day, we only had the ones that they had said yay to. And then we did another yay or nay. Okay, there are 8 of them. There's some others that you want to rule out, so that, and of course, right now that's not happening. But that's what's really nice about this, plus the fact the way that it draws the maps for you, that they can see where they're going. You send this to them and they can see where we're going to go, and if they are in their own car, they're following along on their device. So,
and I tell them 3 stars or less, it's off your website.
yeah.
And we have this discussion outside, not in the house, because most folks have eyes and ears on us now. But again, you can add your own pages to this, like the buying process. Our folks have been educated by HGTV and DIY. And if you ever watch any of those shows, they never write an earnest money deposit. Never. It's just pick up the phone. I want to buy it. Oh, okay. So we have the price, and we have in more detail a process, create a budget. We also have the ability to add pages. You can add pages from Jay, helping them understand the loan process and how the two work hand in hand. Hannah Insurance. These are things that need to come up somewhere in the process, and you've kind of condensed them all into one website. They're human, they're not going to read them, they're going to get excited about the properties we're going to go visit, And then they're going to come back and they are actually going to read through all of this. What's a little bit more?
And Jay will tell you right now, this one's important. You just go all the way to the other column to 5% because that's where we are today.
Yep. Closing terms. More things about the process. Things not to do. Don't buy the truck. Don't get married or divorced. Don't change your job. Things we've all encountered in the past, right? The money back guarantee,
Which we still haven't introduced in this marketplace, but
you have not.
no.
Okay, then that page needs to be eliminated, which you can do. You control all of these pages. You can add and subtract. And I change it periodically just based on who my client is. If I have someone that's more analytical and so forth. Inspections, what the inspection covers. Moving day checklist. The whole process is to educate and keep them engaged in purchasing a home.
And obviously that page would be changed to the Edmund title information.
Correct. So, and what I can do now, since I have access to CAR, Michael, if you get me the pages that you want in everybody's, I will create the master template and just put it in everybody's website.
You can let Vincent do that for you because he's already got some that
Good.
he adds in,
Yeah,
so-
we can do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The-
Okay.
Again, we want these things to be easy for you to use. We don't want you struggling. We want you selling.
Can you make me the host, Ben?
I can make you the
This is
host.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. I worked very hard for it.
Let's see, participants, Michael, Moore. You're the host.
Awesome. So, stop sharing the screen. There we go. Way to hang in there, Russ. Glad that you're still with us here. He doesn't know we're doing this right now, but I wanted to, I think I may be unmuted. Yeah. I wanted to take a minute to thank Ben for everything he's been doing for us every month, coming up here and doing the things he's doing. And so Vince and I were talking, and I want to give you a few things, Ben. First, I want you to have your very own Hanacon Stronger Together bag.
Well, thank you.
And hopefully this won't cause you not to continue to come here. But here's a lucky 7 lottery ticket for you as it relates to Las Vegas. What else do we have in here? We got lots of good things in here for you. We got a nice Howard Hanna bag. I know you like all the
Oh, yeah.
stuff. And I don't even know who this is, but you got some Old Republic socks that we have. But also, not to mess around with this, you also have your own pair of Howard Hanna socks.
Nice.
There you go to wear with your stuff. And then there's some sunglasses in here because you're just so cool.
Sweet.
And what else is in here? There, pen, keychain. Oh, look, he gives us all these kind of things already, but here's, what do you call these things? That
Tape measure?
Yeah, thank you very much. Tape measure, Howard Hanna wristband, pen, all of this stuff. And then because I want him to feel like an honorary member of the Howard Hanna family, I've also gotten him a 1927 Howard Hanna green hat. Of course, it says Farmington on the back of it, but 1927 is when Roy Wheeler was established.
Wonderful.
And
Thank
so
you.
you've got that, and then finally, when we merged with the company, everybody got one of these.
Really?
And this is your own Howard Hanna, Roy Wheeler Realty,
I've seen
hot or
those.
cold, and they really work. And if you look at mine, you can't destroy it. As many
Excellent.
times this is dropped or whatever.
Mhm.
So anyway, we are just grateful and thankful for all that you do, and we really wanted to do something a little bit different to let you know that you really mean a lot to us.
Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. we'll get a picture of all this in just a minute. And
All
then
right.
what we need to do now is move into, because we're going to celebrate Jill's birthday today. So Russell, thanks for hanging in there. Oh, by the way, Ben, number between 1 and 8, please.
6.
6. Betsy, you just won a $2 lottery ticket. Betsy, a number between 1 and 8, but not 6.
4.
Jay, you just won a $2 lottery ticket. Jay, a number between 1 and 6, not 4 or 8, or 4 or 6. 2. Sarah Baczynski, you won a $1 lottery ticket. Sarah, one more number, one between 1 and 8, with what, not 2, 4, or 6. 7. Janine, you just won. Greg Clatterbeck was with us last week, did a really good job on home inspections and talking about how to use home inspectors, like when you're showing a property, so you don't have to make a contingent on home inspection, or in your post-settlement. And he left me this really cool book called The 7 Levels of Communication. Go from relationships to referrals. So Janine, you just won that book. So congratulations. All right, there you go. Thank you very much. Sarah got that, got Jay, got Betsy. Okay, so let's go in here real quick and let me find Mary real quick. Give me like 1 minute.
I didn't get to talk to you. First of all, I was gonna say, if you've got buyers that've been around for a little bit, they better be circling back and get their pre-qualification updated. Because the rates have gotten hammered. Okay?
What's a safe number to put in a contract that you want it higher than what it
Do
possibly
you want to protect the seller or do you want to protect the buyer?
protect the buyer?